All right, sound guy, we got to do a real-time update. I don't know if this drop is reaching everyone since we had to switch over podcast hosts. We used to use Acast, which had a nice integration with Patreon. And then Patreon said, you got 2 weeks to get your shit off Acast and onto Patreon. And we handled that shit. That was a few weeks ago. This is the first, or maybe just a couple weeks ago, but this is the first public drop since then, and I don't know if people are going to hear it. But that's not why I'm doing a real-time update. It's 12:45 p.m. on Monday, April 14th. We had an incredible show last night. Lucky Lady Casino Live, a huge PLO show orchestrated by Suited Superman. Shout out to him. He's, I think I mentioned in this podcast that before I knew him, someone spoke poorly of him. And then I went into meeting him with that. And it's the exact opposite. This guy's fucking great. This guy's a gem. So that's just kind of a lesson for you in the poker world. Someone has something bad to say about everyone, if that makes sense. Anyways, it was a sick show. Nick Airball and Brown Balla played, so we had some star power and then just some amazing degens, some PLO degens. And the show went over 12 hours. Pretty strong. But the real reason I'm doing a real-time update is because I usually hit record. Sound guy's supposed to, but he's always fucking off. I usually hit record and then the intro plays and I warm up my voice and then I end up cutting that part. But I don't stop the recording ever. Well, I already started this one and stopped it and started over because I fucking bit my tongue. I bit my tongue the other day when I sneezed. It hurt. It got swollen and it was starting to heal and I fucking bit it again the first time I was trying to do this. So I'm going to have to power through here. I can feel it. It's all I'm thinking about. Just this part of my tongue that I bit is now inflamed and sore. And who gives a shit? Can we start now? Week 14 of 50 sessions comes first. Everyone who has signed up for $4.22 a month or more at patreon.com/DGAF poker player got a 2-part lead up to this episode last week. It just showed up for them on the Patreon app and wherever they listen to podcasts in general, including Spotify now. That's pretty cool. Lead-ups, if you don't already know, are private drops of sessions in which I share everything that goes on in my life when I'm not at the poker table. They are typically much more intimate than the public drops. And according to hundreds of patrons, many of whom have been listening to sessions since 2018, lead-ups are the best mental escapes available in audio form. Perfect for commutes, workouts, walks, or just trying to fall asleep after a busy day. If you too want to hear the real shit, all you gotta do is commit to $4.22 a month at patreon.com/DGAF poker player. But wait, there's more. For that $4.22 a month, less than one big blind for most of you, you also get access to all 8 seasons of sessions. And at that point, you will never be left with nothing to listen to again. You don't have to listen to every drop of sessions to get caught up in the story. You can simply pick and choose the titles that look interesting to you, and that should do the trick. Also, we will be recapping the seasons at some point, and that'll make it easier for new listeners. But wait, there's even more. Included in that $4.22 a month, less than 1 gallon of gas in California, you also get membership to Patron Discord, the platform where listeners from all over the world go to have discussions and share their stories. I don't know if anyone's shared their story as much as I have. And I'm sure people get sick of it. I get sick of it. But this is cool. This allows listeners, in different countries, different parts of the United States, to share their stories. And I encourage them to do so with a screen name. Why? because that gives you anonymity. It's freeing. You can say whatever you want, and you got to worry about like your boss reading it on the internet, do you? And for those patrons who are currently sharing their stories on Discord, submit a post to me every now and then. Send some of your real shit to dgafpokerplayer@gmail.com, and I'll read it on this podcast. Do not be shy. Do not be shy. That should have been don't be shy, sound guy. Can you correct that for next time? All right. Patron Discord is also where patrons play poker together. The poker club has been revamped. We had a big tournament March 30th. I got wrecked, but it was fun. I was at the final table. I was chip leader with 6 to go, I think. 6 players left. And I got 6th place. Yeah. I missed a combo draw. Standard. I don't know if Bad Beat Brian deals on Poker Bros, but I felt like he was in the box. I lost a big flip, an automatic all-in spot against someone with like 20 big blinds. I opened ace jack suited. They jammed 2 sevens. I called, and we were flipping, and they won. And then I got 2 pair under 2 pair, and I still had chips, and I got it all in with a set against 2 pair on the turn, and I lost. Good for me. But anyways, the point is the poker club has been revamped, and it was my first time on Poker Bros in a while. And I actually look forward to playing some more on there. Just some small games, $20 buy-ins, double board BLO bomb pot or 6-card, high-low, whatever. I like playing with Moose, longtime Patron, and the graphics guy at Hustler Casino Live. So that's cool. Patron Discord's also where many patrons bet sports together with no vig. That's huge. Sports betting is fantastic. It's a great escape, in my humble opinion. It's my favorite form of gambling, for sure. I love it way more than I love poker. The thing is, if you're paying juice, if you got a bookie, you're pretty much drawing dead. I don't know. Maybe some of you can beat the juice. Maybe some of you think you can because you've been running hot. The rule is you can't beat the juice. We'll take out the juice, and then it's just neutral EV. You're gonna swing, but in the end, you'll get a bunch of entertainment for free. Okay. Patron Discord is also where patrons can buy pieces of me when I play on stream with no markup. Check out all the details of all the perks that come with each subscription tier at, one last time, patreon.com/DGAF pokerplayer. Okay. Last the patrons heard, it was Monday, April 7th, 2025, and I had been working my balls off. Not just that day, but the days leading up to it as well. So I was ready to cut loose a bit, have some fun, forget about all my problems, all my worries, just for a few hours. I knew I needed to recharge a bit so I could get back on the grind with a full battery whenever the inevitable hangover subsided. So after working on this and that and that and this, and then recording that 2-part lead up to this episode, I slammed my laptop shut midday, Monday, April 7th. Then I walked around Long Beach. I got some exercise and some vitamin D while also making phone calls and whatnot. Then it was officially time to stop working and cut loose for the night. No more work. No more correspondence. No poker, nothing except food, drinks, and shenanigans with a couple of my people, Hannah Scorsese and Aaron Queskin. So I got an Uber and I headed to Aaron's bar/restaurant in Seal Beach. It's called The Hangout. It's right across the street from the beach, and there's nothing obstructing your view of the goddamn Pacific Ocean. Pretty amazing. Also, the food is honestly very good, like a higher-end version of Islands, if you will. The beers are frosty, of course, and whenever you're ready to step it up, they have all the hard alcohol you could ever want. most importantly, the owner always gets super drunk himself. So it's pretty easy to walk out on your tab. Okay, anyways. I was very much looking forward to getting to the hangout, and not just because I was ready to have some fun at a chill place with chill people, but because my Uber driver was unbearable. A man from the boomer generation, and therefore he felt he needed to converse with me the whole ride, which can be okay conversing with your Uber driver. But also, this really wasn't conversing, was it? It was mostly this guy just sharing all his opinions on everything with me and then waiting for me to support those opinions. But instead of getting support, he would just get from me in the back seat. Yeah, I don't know, man. First, after confirming my destination, you get in and say, oh, you're going to Seal Beach. He asked, why? And I didn't hate him at this point yet, so I said, oh, I'm going to watch the national championship game at my friend's bar. He paused. He didn't know what I was talking about. The last game of March Madness. Oh, who's playing? Houston and Florida. Oh, I hate Florida. I'm a diehard FSU fan. Okay, so this is his first strike because I have way too much money on Florida. It's not my school in general, but on this night, it's practically my alma mater. Whoever you have money on is your team. And I don't want to hear him say he hates fucking Florida. And then he goes, funny story. And immediately when he says this, I'm thinking I'll take the under. He says, my ex-sister-in-law is a nurse at Florida University Hospital. I tease her all the time because she was an FSU fan too, but it was such a good job she had to take it. And I was thinking, see, I knew it wasn't going to be funny. When people say funny story, how often is it actually a funny story? Let me try. Believe it or not, when I was 21 years old, I was a degenerate. Yeah, and so were all my friends. 5 of us lived in a 2-bedroom apartment in Newport Beach, Balboa Island. I slept on a mattress on the floor where a dining room table probably should have been. Anyways, I knew this girl from high school who went to UCLA, and she was in a sorority, and she invited me to come up. I asked her if I could bring my roommates. She was like, sure. So this is going to be a D-Gens and sorority girls mixer, if you will. I had a Toyota truck, an old Toyota truck with a camper shell and a carpet kit. Some old school shit. And perfect for a mission like this and many missions that we went on. I don't have any recollection who drove to Westwood. That's where UCLA is in LA. It wasn't me. I was almost certainly in the passenger seat, pounding natural lights, smoking Marlboro lights, and controlling the car stereo. We had car stereos back then, and people stole them all the time. We only listened to punk rock back then. That was what we listened to it. We went to shows. We played music and so on. Anyways, we drove to this Irish bar in Westwood. Mahoney's, something like that. That's where the girls were. And when we got there, I had to further kill my social anxiety. So pounded some enormous beers. I remember they had like 50-ounce beers, like these huge glass mugs. And I was getting after it, and so were my roommates. They were also popping pills. Yeah, not me. I didn't pop pills. I only ever liked to go up, if you know what I mean. But these guys were ahead of the game. They were beating the opioid crisis by decades. I mean, this was 1995. And I'm pretty sure what happened was one of my buddies had a bad snowboarding accident and got a prescription for a bunch of perks. Percocet, Percodan, whatever it was. Anyways, the point is, we're getting fucking hammered at Mahoney's or Maloney's or something like that. Drunk enough to have some game, to not be shy anymore. I was a pretty boy, so it was okay when I was shy too. I was a Nate Hill back then. And so even if I couldn't come out of my social cage, I still did all right with the girls. They're like shy, awkward fuckboys, don't they? Anyways, after Maloney's or Mahoney's, we all ended up in the sorority house. So maybe, 2:30 a.m. And we had to be real quiet walking in and when we got in there because there was someone there who didn't allow boys. I don't know if it was like a house mom or just an older sorority girl, like a graduate student sorority girl, something like that. So we had to be chill. And we were for a while. And, we drank out in whatever room. And then, I snuck into this girl's room. And my friends were still out in that main area drinking pretty quietly. And I don't know, apparently they didn't impress any of the other sorority girls. So it's like 4 a.m. now, and things are heating up a little bit. You had to get everyone settled, and when we got in there, had another drink, maybe two, and it was time to get to it. And as I'm starting to get to it, I hear this song, CPK, Crazy Power Kids by Unwritten Law. But it's not the recording. I hear it on piano. What the fuck? My genius punk rock friend, he's a genius in some ways. He can play any instrument and he can play any song on any instrument. Like we'd be watching a movie and, he'd have a guitar in his hands. And then when it ended and the music came on, he would just be like soloing to whatever music. This guy's just a fucking, maybe perhaps autistic genius type. Well, he thought it was a good idea at like 4 a.m. to start playing the piano in the sorority house. And he's just playing this Unwritten Law song on it. And it sounded cool, but this was fucking up the plan. And the girl was like, what the fuck is that? I said, I don't know. She said, you got to get out of here. The house mom or whatever it was is going to wake up. So I went out, got my friends. I said, dude, what the fuck? Why are you playing on the piano? We got to get out of here now. And she helped escort us out of the building. And we did it quickly. And we got back to my old Toyota truck. It's gray. The paint is faded and it's got this weird camper shell. But, it was what we took to places. And then we were just parked on the street right outside this sorority house on this busy street. But no one could drive at this juncture. And it's not like we were being responsible. Like no one had the coordination necessary to actually drive. So we decided we were going to crash for maybe an hour or two. Just all of us piled in that thing. And then someone would drive when they felt sober enough. And hopefully by the time the sun came up and it got busy in town. So we start to, crash, whatever, and the sun's coming up. And now you hear some cars passing by because it was perfectly quiet when we got there. And, the early birds are out. It's maybe 5:30 a.m., something like that. And it's time to go. You can, the store owners around town are flipping the signs from closed to open. And it's time to get this old gray Toyota truck with a fucking camper shell off this main street in Westwood where the sorority house is. So we're like, okay, we got to go. My friend's like, I got to go take a piss. Okay, go take a piss in the bushes. Well, this friend, the biggest friend in the group, apparently he popped one too many Perky. Or I think they were Perky. Percocet, Percodan. So when he went to the bushes and whipped out his cock to take a piss, he lost balance and he fucking fell. And it sounded like a grizzly bear approaching you in the woods, but it wasn't. It was just our friend fucking zonking it into some shrubbery along this main street in Westwood. And at first we're like, what was that? And like, oh shit, he fell. What an idiot. And we're just waiting for him to come back, and he's not. And we're just like, what's he doing? Why isn't he getting up? And people are like, I don't know, man. Get him up. We got to get out of here. The sun is rising quickly at this point. So someone goes to get him, and then they come back and say, I can't get him out of the bushes. And I'm like, what? So I don't know. He's fucked up. And so we, others get out of my Toyota and go see what's up. And this guy is in the bushes, now sitting up, and he's conscious, but there's like no life behind his eyes. And he can't get up, and he burps. And it's like loud and fucking gross. And then he farts. And then it's like, dude, what are you doing? And then he burps again. And then he like farts twice in a row. And suddenly it's a fucking symphony of burping and farting. And it's gross. And we all just like walk away, get back in my Toyota truck. And now people are parking on the street next to us. And you see these daughters walking with their parents up the sidewalk. And they're going to walk past us. It's fucking parents' weekend. I remember the girl telling me that the night before. And our friend cannot stop fucking gassing from either orifice in the bushes, just 2 feet off the sidewalk. And he had this like helpless look on his face. And we can't stop laughing. This shit's funny. It's funny right now, and it's going to be real funny when people walk by him. And this was before cell phones, thank God. So I remember, I mean, it was blurry, but I remember the first daughter with her parents, dressed nice, fucking parents' weekend, college. And they walked by, and this guy's just farting and burping, and he looks like a fucking monster in the bushes. And they just, the daughter and the parents looked at him and just started walking faster. And that was funny. And then the next daughter and parents walked by, and and this daughter goes, ew, gross. And this guy is just, he can't stop fucking farting and burping. And she's right. It was gross. And at this point, all of us in my truck literally can't stop laughing. It sucks, in hindsight for our friend. But at the time, it's just really fucking funny. It's like he's an attraction at the zoo, and they're just walking by and just, ew. And it was fucking funny. And I think that's a funny story. I don't know if it is or isn't, but it's funnier than the guy's ex-sister-in-law working at Florida, even though she grew up an FSU fan. So, anyways, to end that story, we finally got him in my truck, and we got back to our apartment, and he slept it off, and, he grew up. He became successful in something, real estate or loans or something like that, and he's a good dad and a good husband and all that now. But that was insane. That morning he was in the bushes and couldn't move. And I think that's a funny story. Maybe it's not, but it's better than the other guys, my Uber drivers. Okay, so that was 1995, I'm pretty sure. And this is 30 years later. And I want to be the one who ends up in the bushes tonight. Not really, but I do want to cut loose. And I really want the Florida Gators to win by 2 points or more. And I don't like my driver hating on them. And then he starts hating on Florida in general. And I'm thinking, how are you hating on Florida in general when you sit here an FSU fan? And, the guy's just boomering, just like shoving his opinions on me and hoping I'm going to agree. And I never do. And I said, I don't know. I heard South Beach is nice. And he goes, yeah, well, there's, good parts and bad parts of Florida, just like California. He said, Long Beach and Seal Beach, they're great. But Huntington Beach, it's horrible. And when he says that, I know this guy's a super dem. I think that's why he's saying Huntington Beach is horrible, because it's very Republican. And I'm neither Democrat nor Republican. I just don't like being pushed either way. It always sounds dumb. It always makes my head hurt and my ears bleed when people push their agendas, their opinions that are too far to either side. So I'm like, yeah, Huntington Beach, okay. And then this motherfucker starts talking about LeBron James. He says, well, I can't wait for LeBron to retire. I said, you can't? He said, yeah, he's not like MJ. And I don't know how this is even possible. I've had the MJ LeBron debate a million times. I grew up an MJ fan, but I'm not a boomer. So when LeBron came around, I was open to the idea of this guy might be better. And he goes, LeBron's like bipolar. I said, I don't think he is. He said, sometimes he has it and sometimes he doesn't. He's saying LeBron's inconsistent. And that's an interesting take, isn't it? And I'm like, bipolar. Bipolar is Kanye. Bipolar is when you're manic for a few days and then you come down and you're depressed for a few days. That's fucking bipolar. And anyways, why the hell am I having to listen to this shit? It's just a short drive. And this guy's, it's like he knows me. He's trying to trigger me. Don't talk shit on LeBron. You will not find a bigger LeBron fan than me. And we didn't even need to talk about it. You love Jordan? That's fine. Jordan was fucking great. But I don't know, man. It seemed, it's a short fucking drive, but it seemed like it took forever. And I finally got out. And I didn't say thank you. Took a sip of this water. And yeah, my tongue is swollen. Sound guy. So get in there, and Aaron's he's already started. He's already started drinking some beers. He says, want to order nachos? I said, no, I'm not going to eat until Miss Scorsese gets here. It's just beer and Zin for me until she gets here. So have a couple Modelo's, and it's pregame, and I said, you're going to turn the sound on, right, when the game starts? She said, yeah, of course. And the plan is to drink beers for a while. You can stay chill on beers. Once you start getting in the cocktails, that's a slippery slope. But I don't know. At this age, I have 2 beers, and it's just like I don't want another one. I want cocktails. And so this guy, Aaron's a big shot in the hangout. Obviously, he owns it. All these regulars come in. They come up to him, and he introduces them to me. And, they're nice people, but they want to talk, and they want to tell stories. And I'm a storyteller. As a podcaster, commentator. Yeah, I'm a storyteller, but at least on this day, I'm allergic to people telling me stories. And I guess that's not cool to be a storyteller. And in general, I don't like when people tell me stories. But especially when I have way too much on a basketball game. More money than I can afford to lose. I mean, I'll figure it out, and I'm actually up a bunch, so I'm just kind of risking a lot of what I'm up. But I want to sweat this game. I don't want to talk to people. And I want to get locked in on the fucking game. And the game starts, and my guy, Walter Clayton Jr., is struggling mightily. And it's rough. And Houston looks like very much the better team, and they're up a bit, and then we cut it down a little bit, and it's still anyone's game at halftime, but Houston looks like they have the advantage. And then in the second half, I believe it was the second half, we're already into cocktails at this point. Florida's down by 12, and I really fucking need them to win by 2 or more. So I did something smart. I complained in a group chat. Partly I needed to vent about my misfortune, my bad luck, and partly complaining works when you gamble. Everyone knows that. The guy who complains at the poker table starts running hot every time. And after I put that group chat out, that text, it worked. Florida started to make a comeback. And the game got tight again. And I'm fucking yelling Gator Nation after every basket, after every stop by the Gators. And, people are kind of looking around like, I thought this is the hangout. This is supposed to be chill. It's not going to be chill tonight. Not until this game's over. So it was a lot of fun, and we got the W. One cool thing is Walter Clayton Jr., who was, the most heralded player going into this game, he really struggled. He was in his head. I don't know if the defense is just that good for Houston, but he couldn't get anything going on offense. He made a few buckets, but he made the clinching play at the end on defense. And I love that about basketball. Even when you don't have like your offensive game, you can still affect the game by playing sick defense. And he made a great play, and I got the much needed W, and I felt great. And Miss Scorsese had shown up somewhere around halftime, and cool. I won a nice number, and let's keep it going. Let's go across the street to Clancy's, and there's an old school video game in the corner that Miss Scorsese likes to grind, and I'll be drinking with Aaron, and maybe we'll play some bar games. So we walk over to the darts, and I said, let's play. And they have something called cutthroat cricket, which I've never heard of before. And normal cricket, like you close out 20s, and now every time you hit a 20 before the other guy does, you get points. In cutthroat, if you close out 20s, and then before they do, and you throw another 20, they get points. And sometimes you just throw one dart and your turn's over. I don't know what fucking cutthroat cricket is. It's crazy. It's like schizophrenic cricket. Like sometimes you get 3 darts, sometimes you get 2, sometimes you get 1, sometimes they get points for you. And I think that's a better use of a severe mental illness when describing something than LeBron being bipolar. I mean, this guy was just mad because the NBA and the media made Jordan a boomer's god. And then LeBron came along and he's just been better. He just has. He's bigger, stronger, faster, better. Anyways, he wins the first game of cutthroat cricket. I said, okay, let's play for $100. And I got him. And then we played again, and I got him. And suddenly, all is right with the world. The reason I haven't been playing much poker lately, in addition to being too busy, is I have legit felt cursed. I have felt like nothing will go right. It doesn't matter how good I get the money in, I'm losing. And for sure I thought I would lose this Florida game, but I didn't. And now I won a couple games of darts, and now I do want to play poker. And, all of my bad feelings have subsided. And partly that's winning that game, and partly it's shout out to Jameson Irish Whiskey. So we had, Miss Scorsese and I head to Lucky Lady. There's a stream game going and an outer table, and I'll just play the outer table. I get there, and I get pulled into the gold room after doing an interview in the idiot booth, and I was at least tipsy. I was drunk, but I've played poker drunk a million times, and it's really cool to see that this place, Lucky Lady, that was dormant. I didn't even know where it was when I got tasked with building business there. And it didn't have a poker room. They just played some poker games, like one game a day out on the main casino floor. And I kind of built the poker room that exists now and the stream. And it's just cool that it's buzzing. So I'm feeling good about that as well. And we're gonna take this pretty far. The show Lucky Lady Casino Live. It's a do-it-yourself project. It's not like the casino brought in the equipment and built the stage and all that, or that a partner did that. I did that on credit cards, and I'm paying the price, but also it's pretty cool. And it's as we grind out some income, I'll pay down the credit cards, and then when there's enough room, I'm gonna get an RFID table and have graphics guy, commentator, sound guy, all that stuff. Not you sound guy, a sound guy. So anyways, I'm in the gold room, and the game is allegedly 2-3 no limit with a $5 bounty if you win consecutive pots. But the straddles are plentiful. And on my right is this guy, Gregarious Gabe, and he's straddling big. And you can straddle from wherever you want as long as it's big enough. And I'm on his left, as mentioned, and I'm restraddling. And my generation, so I'm Gen X, this guy's younger, that's a sign of respect to restraddle someone's straddle. And I was thinking maybe for the younger generation, they think it's you taking away their EV. I don't know. But he was straddling big. Like sometimes he would straddle 200, I just make it 400. And so the effective stacks were very, very shallow. You know, you're going into hands with 6 big blinds, 3 big blinds, whatever. And it was very blurry, but I was running hot. I remember getting pocket 10s at least 2 or 3 times, and they were holding. And, you know, people were just jamming pre. And I also got it in with ace 10 against Eddie the Fun Player's pocket queens. With the straddle, I think it was like 8 big blinds, but it was still a pretty big pot, and I won twice. I ran it twice, and ace 10 beat queens twice. And I didn't want to beat Eddie the Fun Player, but I did. And it was a really good game. I was having fun. And then it went the wrong way for a bit. This hand was pretty funny. This guy, Richard, who was very cool and very action, bloated the shit out of the pot pre-flop. And, you know, I called out a position with 7-6 offsuit like a gentleman. And it came 9-7-5. And I just let into him. You know, he had he had 3-bet big, so like he's gonna have, you know, ace king, ace queen. He's also gonna have over pairs, but I can just kind of, you know, lead this flop safely. No, he raises me. Okay, call. You know, middle pair and gutter. The turn's a 7, and I'm gonna check to this guy and see what he's all about. And he bombs it. 9, so he 3-bet huge. And then he raised me on the flop, 9-7-5, 7-6, turn 7. I check, he bombs, call, and the river's a 9. And now I lead, just like, you know, to get value from ace high, whatever the fuck this guy might have. I don't think he's betting ace high or an overpair on 9-7-5, 7-9, and he jams. Okay, this guy has a 9 somehow. I fold, and he turns over queen 9. Okay, so he had 2 outs in this fucking huge pot heading to the river. This is what I'm used to. And I tilted for just a moment, but not real bad tilt. I'd been running good up until then. And then we just played for a bit until the game broke. And, you know, that was a big setback, but I still won an early 2000s Honda Civic with no accessories and 180,000 freeway miles. So my boss, Cal Worthington, might be happy about that. And if you want to know what happens next, you got to go to Patreon. And let's run through the goals real quick. And I apologize for the lack of poker in this one. I didn't know I was playing poker on this night. I didn't think I was. I do like to have drinks when I play poker, but typically not as many as I had before this one. And yeah, so that's why I added that other stuff. And it probably would have been better if I didn't bite the shit out of my tongue. That's all I've been thinking about the whole drop. But, you know, that's just the story. So let's check the goals. First goal, I want to have 50-50 tilt. I only want to tilt in half of my sessions. And I mentioned that I tilted for a little bit after that 2-outer in that huge pot, but I didn't go to a dark place, so I'm not counting it as tilt. I have not tilted 7 of my 15 sessions this year, and I've tilted 8 of them. So I'm losing the battle by 1. All right, the next goal is much more significant. I want to get out of makeup this year and end the year out of makeup. And I started the year $61,810 in makeup, and it's been a bad start. But even after this win, it's $78,120. So I got a lot of work to do, but after this session, I'm feeling a lot less cursed, and I plan on playing much bigger in the in the last, 9 months of the year. And my third goal is I want to weigh 230 pounds or less by the end of the year. I started the year at 247.3. I got up to 260 last year as my high point ever. Last week or last time we checked in, I was at 232.7. And then last time I got on the scale yesterday, I was at 229.5. So beating this goal, need to keep, exercising. I walk almost every day and need to keep eating responsibly. But yeah, so I'm hitting one of the three goals currently, and I plan on hitting all three. And this was a weird drop, but that's the way it goes sometimes.